and do more things.
What up, y'all? It's episode 110 of the Binge Boys / Binging Batch. Good episode as always. Talk about our winners, losers, favorite couples. We'll also talk about a little bit of news in Bachelor world, and maybe talk about a few songs that our artists that are currently competing have released. I listened to all of them today, and I have some thoughts. But let's get that beat dropped, and then let's get right into it. It's late when we are recording this, so yeah. we are tired people. We had long days.
Yeah, so sorry if our energy is low. We'll still try to bring it, though.
Oh, yeah, we'll be bringing it, but we are more calm, more
chillaxed.
Yeah,
which is not what was needed for this episode. This was a great episode.
Correct. All right, we in it. I love this music.
Yeah, it's a jam for sure.
Sweet. So we got our episode. Was it the fourth one of the season?
It is 4, so there's only 2 more.
Episode 4. Let's get the big shit out of the way. We lost Brandon, Julia, Savannah, and Sheridan. We said it, me and Kaleigh, last week. Kaleigh and I, one of those two works. We said it, this week they'd probably get rid of the drama, and the drama sorted itself out, and all of the parties involved are now gone. Let's pour one out for Sheridan, and let's pour one out for Savannah.
Yes,
they are the goats.
Goats for sure.
Talk about 2 people that actually came into the show and the competition like with the right mindset, like of I'm gonna find like one person and like be committed to one person. Meanwhile, we have snakes like Julia and Brandon.
Yes,
that just like to play with hearts and disappoint people. And yeah, so that's what we got. We got a little bit of drama there. Of course, we knew it was going to happen from the previews of last week. Mm-hmm. What do you think of everything that went down, Kaleigh? I mean, we all saw this coming.
Right. So just to give a recap to everyone, basically what had happened was Chris Harrison came into the mansion and said, all right, we're going to pair up dates. There's going to be 3 dates, but they're not going to be with the person that you're seeing. So Chris went on a date with Rudi, which involved Rudi just staring at Matt the entire time because Rudi is very insecure. Yep. And then we had Brandon to go on a date with Julia, which, shocker, we all saw the producer scheming that one behind our backs. And then the awkward one was Ryan and Jamie, because back in the first episode, Ryan and Jamie were an item before she broke Ryan's heart to go with Trevor. So quite interesting as that was, and we'll talk about that date and that couple later. But Julia and Brandon went on their date. It was a pretty good date. They basically wrote a song together and sang it in front of a producer at some club in California. And on the way back, when they got out of the limo, Brandon told Julia, we have some hard conversations that we have to do. So that was basically saying that they were both done, or that they were going to mention, like, done with their other significant others, and that they were going to pursue each other, or that they just needed to tell the other person about what had happened on that date. It was pretty vague as to what they needed to say to the other person. So first off, Julia walks in, grabs Sheridan, pulls Sheridan aside, and says something along the lines that I don't think I can do this with you anymore. And so Sheridan just basically gets up and says, I'm leaving. And that's when Julia makes the comment of, are you really going to walk away from me right now after I said that? Which I just found hilarious, because of course he is. Like, I've been literally chasing after you this whole season. And every single time you cry or act ridiculous, he he just comes back to you every time. So yes, of course he's going to put his foot down finally and be like, yes, I'm done following you. If you're going to finally definitively say like, hey, I don't want to be with you, then I don't blame him at all. And then Brandon ended up pulling Savannah aside. And when Brandon was talking to Savannah, he mentioned that he still had feelings for Julia. That erupted into Savannah saying, like, I'm not going to be a choice. You need to make a decision, so on and so forth. Like, I'm done with this whole back and forth with you. And he basically said something along the lines then of, I want to do this with you if you want to do this with me. And she was basically like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm done. There was like no fixing what he had said. So she decided to leave. That was right after Sheridan decided to leave also. So they both left that night, which then involved Brandon being together with Julia and them continuing their journey. The next morning, though, Natasha, which we all love Natasha from, I think it was the second episode, when she came in hot on Trevor about his ex-girlfriend and started all of that drama. Here comes Natasha in true Natasha style. She asked at breakfast, I think that morning, she asked like Julia to close her ears so she couldn't hear what Natasha was about to ask Brandon. And when Julia closed up her ears, she asked him that if Savannah had agreed to continue this journey with Brandon, would Brandon want to be with Savannah, like basically decline Julia, reject Julia. And he said yes, like just definitively said yes. And that was that. And then Natasha ended up bringing it up right before Julia and Brandon's performance, which is why that was crazy, not good. Yeah. Which then resulted in them leaving the show too, because the judges didn't pick them to stay, which I find hilarious because Julia the entire time was like, I don't know why Natasha is in our business. Like, Natasha isn't here for the right reasons if she's so like consumed in our relationship. Yeah. And I'm like, this is exactly what you did though. Yeah. Like, this is a mirror image of you. And I lost Logan. Where you at, Logan? Well, I can continue talking, I guess, since it's just me, but okay, Logan will be back soon. But yes, there's a lot of drama. There you are. Now
hey, sorry about that. I kicked a cord under my desk and something came loose or something, so I'm just not touching anything right now.
There you go. You're fine.
Go on.
But yeah, basically, I found that hilarious. And then basically I thought it was funny because when she performed, the judges said something along the same lines about their performance that the judges said about Brandon and Savannah's performance from the time before that, about like they didn't really see a connection or couldn't really tell that they were really all that into each other. And I was like, this is what you did. And then when she was sent home, when great old Julia was sent home, she said something along the lines of, she realizes now that she wants a guy of certain traits, and that Sheridan had those traits, which I found hilarious. And
I found myself laughing at the TV several times this night. So here's the thing. So let's just talk about Julia right off the bat, and Brandon, really. So Julia is so horrible. So you could easily tell that, like, within the last like 20 minutes of the episode, she went into full panic mode because she realized, like, okay, so I'm definitely the one going home. So she blames Brandon. She blames Brandon, Natasha. She blames Brandon for like leaving her alone up there on stage when Brandon did, for once, Brandon did nothing wrong when they performed together. They did. She just immediately goes into it's everyone's fault but mine.
Right.
I was like, girl, you did this to yourself.
Right.
Like,
you literally did this to yourself. And it's like, how do you even trust Brandon? Like, you gave him 3 different shots to want you, and every single time he picks Savannah over you.
Yeah.
And why would this time be any different?
Yeah.
At all. Like, honestly, cheers to Savannah for leaving that, because he's definitely the definition of a guy that if you let him get away with it once, he's going to get away with it twice, and he's going to get away with it 3 times, and he's just going to continue doing it. He's a bad habit for sure. So
yeah, a podcast I listened to said it perfectly and said, Brandon is the guy that 5 different people ask him to do something on Friday and he says yes to all of them. And then when he wakes up Friday morning, he decides which one he wants to go to.
Yes.
Brandon, he's the definition. He's a fuckboy. Like, that's what he went in. And I mean, poor Sheridan and Savannah, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for Sheridan.
They're both rock stars.
Yeah.
And it was inevitable. We saw this coming from pretty much the second episode.
Right.
Well, Julia's going to break his heart and Brandon's going to break her heart.
Yep.
So
and what happened. But in real news, if I was kind of creeping on Julia's Instagram today a little bit, and she posted on her Instagram kind of saying, like, I'm a human, I failed you all, I failed everybody, I failed Sheridan, so on and so forth. And I was scrolling through some of the comments and someone said, so what's the real news though, or something along those lines of asking if she had reached out to Sheridan. And she said that she was trying and was hoping that it wasn't too late and all this stuff. And at the same time, Sheridan's releasing all this music basically saying, I'm done with it. So let's keep our fingers crossed that Sheridan doesn't go for Julia, because he does not need that at all. He deserves so much better than that.
No, please, Sheridan, for the love of God. I think Sheridan is smart enough to know, like, what he'd be getting himself into if, like, she's just trying to go back to him because it's something that she knows that she can fall back on.
Right. Like she was, like, every time.
One thing I was real surprised with is I loved how Sheridan and Savannah both were just like, okay, I'm done. Time to go. Like, when Julia first came in the room and she was like, I don't know if I can do this with you. And he, like, straight up just stood up and left. She was like, are you going to walk away? And he was like, what the hell else am I supposed to do?
Right.
You've done this to me like 3 times now.
Right. And it's like, to that point, it's like, if you're not confident in us, then you're never going to be confident in us.
Right. Like, so come at F to pay respects to Sheridan and Savannah. We lost 2 greats, but honestly, I'm glad we lost them if we lost Julia and Brandon, because those 2 needed to go. Let's talk about the performances, Kaleigh.
One more thing for Savannah. If you go onto Savannah's Instagram page and look at her most recent post, she's doing this weird thing where you can text her.
You can. Oh, yes.
And
Jamie's
so
doing the same thing.
So who did?
Jamie's doing the same thing.
Did she really? So I did that, and it asks you to, like, submit your name and all this stuff, and then you get another text message that says, this is the last automated message, like, you're going to see from me. Next time it's going to be me having a conversation with you or something. So let's see if Savannah ever texts me. But
yeah, I might try the same thing. I definitely, God, just pulling up her Instagram, Savannah
McKinley.
She is absolutely beautiful.
She is so pretty.
This girl is absolutely gorgeous. Brandon, if you're watching, and I know you're not, you fucked up, dude. You fucked up, dude. This girl is so pretty. But either way, let's talk about their performances. I have notes just like last week. I think they're a little out of order, but I'll just start with Bree and Chris. They absolutely murdered it.
Yes.
I think they literally crushed it. I found it a little cheesy, the whole "I love you" on stage thing, but it was cute. I mean, the fact that when Chris hit her with that smooth line back, that was like, oh, if I would have heard you, I would have said it back. I was like, duh.
It was cute.
So that was a cool moment.
I feel like the performance, though, was very similar to the performance from the week before.
Yeah.
Though it's just them really just kind of staring at each other and singing, which is fair.
They're just in love.
Right. They just can't stop looking at each other.
There's no easy way to put it. If they were allowed to clap cheeks at this point, I'm sure they would have done it.
You're right.
Let's just be real. Jamie and Trevor, I thought they did fine too, except Jamie was really overreacting. Yeah.
Always.
I went back and listened to it, and the judges were right. At the beginning, she sounded really, really like stuttery and nervousy. Mm-hmm. But like as the song like bled through and it started getting to like the last 3/4 of it, or the last fourth of the song, she got better. I think Trevor's really talented.
Yeah, he is.
I'll get to that when we talk about their music, but yeah, I thought they did fine. Like they didn't out of the 5 performances, I think they probably were the weakest besides Julia and Brandon. But I mean, that's not saying much because they're all really good. Every group is good. It's just who's the weakest out of the group. And I mean, as always, like you just said, Jamie's just overreacting.
Always overreacting, which it's either going to kill their couple next week or Matt and Rudi are going to get into some type of something, which there's a little preview of that, but we can talk about that couple in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll hit them right now. Matt and Rudi. Am I the only one that when I hear Matt and Rudi, I immediately think of Max and Ruby?
That's perfect.
Every single time I hear it, I'm like, Max and Ruby.
They were meant to be.
I was talking to my friend earlier, and we were saying that no matter what, you can always guarantee, at least we could guarantee it thus far, Matt and Rudi deliver like a pretty solid, good performance with each other.
They always do. They're very musically talented, and they sound so good together.
They have pretty good chemistry on stage, and even if they don't have the chemistry, they can fake it. Like they're doing a good job.
They're just so musically talented that they can focus on the acting part if they need to. Mm-hmm. While on the other hand, like Trevor and Jamie's not so great at performing, so she has to focus so hard on the singing and the performing, which causes it to be kind of rough. But yeah, Rudy's middle name is performance.
They're pretty good. I love how they show them like backstage before they go on, and each time Matt's just like, hey, don't worry about it. Let's just go out there and have fun. And I'm just like, that's the way to do it. Just go out there and have fun.
Right.
So they did pretty solid too. Like we said, Brandon and Julia, to me, it felt awkward. Like if you just like pretend all this drama and shit didn't exist, the performance was awkward. It just, it felt like, this isn't popping.
Right.
And I think you probably saw the quick shot of, I forget who said it. I think it was the Bachelor couple that was like, there is zero chemistry between them.
Right. And the thing is, I don't know if that's just branding because he's gotten zero chemistry like twice now.
Yeah.
So it could be a him problem.
It could be.
But yeah, I feel like his voice just went so much better with Savannah's. Like he just in general just looked better with Savannah. And he was chasing at all. Yeah, I don't know.
You could see the crushing look on Julia's face when the judge was like, yeah, there's no chemistry between you two. She like bowed her head and was like, no.
Right. And it's like
she's literally like a Disney villain. Like she's just so animated and awful. Like just seeing like her facial expressions half the time just makes me so mad. I was listening to her songs today. Oh yeah.
Released, and she's released 2 songs since 2011. So you can see that this show kind of gave her a little bit of a lift. And even those songs are not great. And just listening to them, it just I just was getting mad all over again.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah.
She's awful. I do not like this girl at all.
No, I went back and deleted it since because I just didn't want to be pegged as an online bully. But in the moment when I saw her apology post, I commented something like, "You and Brandon are both snakes. Good riddance," or something like that. But then I was like, yeah, that's a little harsh. She's apologizing. So I went back and deleted it, but still, the show's better off without the two of them.
Right, for sure. Now we can focus on real love, real connections, not whatever they were going through. But
I was thinking this too before we get to Natasha and Ryan, because, the Sheridan, Savannah, Julia, Brandon, that all was pretty much the thing feeding the drama.
Mm-hmm.
Now that ideally, in a perfect world, the remaining couples are pretty solid couples.
Yeah.
They're pretty comfortable with each other. They like each other. I mean, from what we know. Do you think from here on out, the producers are all right, so now that the drama's gone, we got to stir some shit up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I 100% think that.
I feel like that's why they're going to really zone in on Rudi's insecurities. Yep. They're going to find out everybody's little weak. It's in the Harry Potter episode, Harry Potter movie where it was your greatest fear will come in front of you. That's what the producers are doing right now.
They're doing their research.
What can we do to make this awful? So yeah, they're going to do something where they're going to pair Natasha and Matt together or something, because for some reason Rudi just is super nervous about Natasha coming in on Matt. But yeah,
when they were suntanning together.
Right. Yes, because on Chris and Rudi's date, they just went on a picnic, which can we talk about how for this season of The Bachelor, all the dates are super lame.
They're weird.
Are super just anything that I can do on a daily basis, and that's not what The Bachelor is.
How
lambed up dates ads.
Why do I saw this funny post on Twitter, and it was why do Julia and Brandon get to go and write a song with somebody who's worked with Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, all these pop stars, and then they get to sing and perform each other? Meanwhile, Rudi and Chris get to have a picnic a half a mile from the Bachelor house.
Right, and Chris and Rudi are the 2 most talented singers, besides maybe Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
They are very talented. I don't know what's up with the Bachelor budget. It reminds me all of last season with Peter when they took them all to Cleveland.
Yeah, it's why are we in Cleveland?
It's why are we going to Cleveland? We're going to travel all over the world, and we're going to go to Cleveland, Ohio, and all the girls were like, "Yay!"
I saw something.
So funny.
Oh boy, first yawn of the night. I saw something that said, do you think that the Bachelors spent all their money the first couple episodes, and then the last 3 episodes, they're shit, we got to actually give them some dates?
Right. They're okay, we got to eat ramen noodles.
Here's the thing. It's the whole Natasha Matt thing. On this date, Rudi didn't just bring binoculars. Why were binoculars given to them?
Right.
It's literally to stir the pot.
Yes, it's because the producers know she's insecure. So they're let's place her on a date where she can still see Matt and give her some binoculars. And so basically Chris and Rudi just spent half their date talking about how much they liked the other person they were seeing. Yeah. And then the other half was just so Rudi could snoop and watch Matt from a very far away distance with a pair of binoculars.
It's Matt was probably just chilling inside when the producers were like, "Hey, you don't know Natasha really well. Why don't you go out and sunbathe with her?" And it's the producers are just fucking everything.
Right. It's kind of good.
It is. It's genius.
Love the producers. But yeah, they're definitely the pot stirrer friend that we all have. They're
for sure.
I don't know how to press your button, so I'm going to do this.
Speaking of pot stirrers, Natasha and Ryan, their performance.
Natasha and Ryan performance was really good. That was probably the best performance
Yeah.
that night.
She's wicked, dude. She's got some pipes.
Yeah, she's good.
She can sing.
Yes. And Ryan can pair with her pretty well. I feel like if I was a guy and I was paired with Natasha, I'd be pretty, I'd say, intimidated. So I don't know. I probably would just play the guitar and stand at the side or kind of just let her do her thing. But he's like, no, like I'm part of this performance too. And I'm going to show you that I am also good. And it's great. They do really well together.
I'm not saying that this is like, I'm not comparing them like talent-wise to these people, but it feels like to me like when they pair Natasha or like when Natasha and Ryan sing together, it's like they're putting Mariah Carey on stage with John Mayer.
Yes.
It like makes no sense. Like vocally, like it shouldn't work, but it does. They deliver electric performances.
Right, they do. Yeah, I really enjoyed that performance, and I'm really starting to like that couple a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
They're great.
They're pretty solid. Before we talk about the music that we listen to, let's give out the awards quick.
Wait, but let's talk about Jamie and Ryan's date.
Yes, let's. Summarize it for us.
They were the third. They basically went on a spa day, which is weird and awkward. My boyfriend's aunt, her name's Kay. Shout out to Kay. She loves this podcast. But
wow. Big shouts to Kay.
Big shouts to Kay. We love Kay. But she texted me today, and I haven't responded to her yet, but something along the lines of, can we talk about how much makeup Jamie was wearing on a spa day? Like, you're going to the spa, like a little overdone. And that's so true. Jamie, I don't know. I think Jamie just really wants to be liked by everybody. Hence her comment of like, romance Jamie and Ryan is over, but friendship Jamie and Ryan isn't, or something along those lines. And it's like, sure, girlfriend, you can try to. It's like every single time someone starts to cry in the house, Jamie just starts cuddling them. He starts touching them, and it's like, why? Like, you could hate Natasha, but then if Natasha starts crying, you want to start touching Natasha. She is like so like empath with her emotions. It's crazy. But
you know what's funny about that statement? Out of all the people in the house left, if somebody is guaranteed to not cry, it's Natasha. I feel like she's not shedding a single tear.
Right.
Like if Ryan broke her heart or something for some reason, she'd just be like, all right, bye, bitch. And she would just leave.
Right. Like, because when the two roses were left, like the final rose couple, and it was the two of them, Jamie was like upset.
She was already crying.
Already upset. And then Julia was just like, I don't care about your emotions. And then I feel like when Jamie got picked, she like kind of looked over to Julia to like do something, and Julia was just like, don't even talk to me. Like, I don't want to look at you. And it's like, you were so not a team player. You were so me about this whole thing. It's like also, Julia's show is great. I
know. It almost seemed like Brandon was almost in a hurry to get out of the show entirely, because as soon as Chris was like, say your goodbyes, Brandon immediately turned to Julia and was like, all right, it was nice. Like, I'm so sorry. And then he left. Like Brandon was done.
Yeah, he knew that. I don't think Brandon's a dater. I don't think he's a great. I don't think he understands what dating is and what it all entitles.
He'll be a bachelor the rest of his life. He'll settle down in his like 50s when he finally meets somebody.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is Instagram. I don't know about Twitter, but they're all hyping up for Sheridan to be the next bachelor.
I would 1,000% be game for that.
I would be so happy if Sheridan was the next bachelor.
Although I think Sheridan is too.
He's too committed to one person. I feel like he'd find one person immediately, and then everybody else wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, I can't see him. I don't want to compare him to Peter, but like I feel like Peter was bad at like telling. Peter would like go on a date with Victoria and be like, I really like you. I really see this going somewhere. And then the next date he would go on with McKenna. He'd be like, I really like you. I really see this going somewhere.
Right.
He would tell it was like a cookie cutter line he used on every girl. And that's why there was so much crying last season, is because he told every girl that he was basically in love with them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He said the same thing over and over. And then when they would all get like mad at him, he'd be like, I'm trying the best I can. It was like he was robotic.
Yeah.
He was scripting him what to say every time, which we can talk about that for a second. So if anyone doesn't know, Peter and Kelly are together officially. For this whole quarantine, Peter has actually been locked in with Kelly. A lot of his quarantine videos are not from his place. And it's very easy to tell that it's all from hers. She also was in the finale. She was just a bystander sitting in the stands, which makes me wonder if him and Kelly were just like already kind of a thing, and that the producers wanted him to kind of do the whole Hannah Ann Maddie thing just for views, I guess, and that it wasn't all very genuine, which kind of goes back to maybe even the whole season. Like it was Kelly kind of, and that the producers was like, yeah, but if you're just going to pick the girl that's like super like level-headed, like we're not going to get any drama out of this. So I don't know if the producers were like, okay, don't pick her, pick someone else and then break up with them later and then just be with Kelly, or trying to fix the whole Bachelor to try to bring more drama out of it.
That like just blew my mind, because then would that then mean that like all of the Barb shit was fake too?
Yeah, that's what that's my theory, is that like, because like if you think about it, Peter was like feeling the same towards like all the girls, and he did just say the same things over and over again. Wow. And like no one really knows. I don't know. It's just weird that like, okay, the girl that you really like told you not to have sex with anyone, and then you went and had sex with them anyways, and then she got upset, and now she's borderline if she's going to leave you, and then she leaves you and comes back and does all of this stuff. It's the type of drama that show loves, especially towards the finale.
So Kelly was Final Four, right? It was, he sent her home, and it was then Victoria, Maddie, and Hannah Ann, right?
No, I think she got sent home on a three date. So I don't know if that made her the fifth one to go home, because she was with Hannah Ann and Victoria P.
Okay.
And I thought Victoria P was going to go home. He took her out to the car first, and then was like, I'm going to give you this rose. And she was like, oh my gosh, because we thought that he was walking her out to leave. And then he gave the other rose to Hannah Ann, basically right in front of Kelly. And Hannah Ann just like bawled the entire time, like bawled her eyes out.
But you know what? It makes me think then, because if they were in on something the whole time, that would make sense why Kelly wasn't freaking out.
Right. Kelly didn't freak out. And to also keep in mind, Kelly met Peter before the show. That was one person that they met way before the show. And his whole reasoning for sending her home was, I don't know if I was just holding on to the fact that we met before the show and it was fate.
Bullshit.
Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I just think I've been holding on to that for too long and that there's not actually anything here. And then he sent her home.
Yeah,
There's nothing there. Then why was she at the finale?
I was Team Kelly ever since the beginning. Like first episode, I was like, Kelly's my favorite.
As soon as Kelly started calling him out on his BS, saying like, you're rewarding bad behavior, and if you're going to keep acting like a child, I don't want to be with a child, so I'm going to leave. I think like it was like the third episode, I was like, Kelly for president. Like that was awesome.
Preach, Kelly, preach. See, I'm all for it. I also followed Kelly on TikTok around the time of the finale, and maybe a couple weeks after the finale is kind of when all the COVID stuff started like creeping up, like in February or March or whatever. And she posted a TikTok with Peter and their other friend that's just awkwardly, I guess, third wheeling their relationship.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder why are they hanging out? But then like he was in like every single one of her videos, and I was like, dude, something's got to be going on here.
If you're locked in quarantine with this girl, it's not
they've got something going on
that you're hanging out with her. It's not the first week that you're hanging out with her.
Exactly.
Like, you were totally here. And I don't know if I mentioned this on an earlier episode of Binging with Batch, but there was a theory going around that like he definitely was with Kelly because if right before the finale, if you went on Peter's Instagram, Peter's mom's Instagram, Peter's brother's Instagram, and search for Hannah Ann or Maddie Prue,
none of them were followed.
They were not following any of them. But if you look for Kelly, on all of them, they were all following Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
All of them. And I think somewhere Kelly and Peter's mom were like commenting back and forth to each other, saying something like, when
I can't wait to see you or something.
To see you or something along those lines. So, and then she was at the finale. So it was like, okay, there's just something not right here. And the producers either are done hiding it or kind of want to reveal it a little bit to keep everyone interested, just because Peter's season got bashed so hard. It was not a great season at all. But
yeah, I agree. I think it was a good first season for me to like just get in tune with the rules, just because everything else was just so blown out of proportion. But like, I mean, even if all the Barb stuff was fake and all that, it was good television. I was entertained.
Yeah. Television.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's give our awards out. We'll talk about some music real quick, and then I'll hit on a few points I want to close out with, and then we'll wrap this bitch up.
Perfect. So tell me who your fave is.
So my winner of the week right now is Bachelor Nation for getting rid of the toxicity. But if I were to pick a winner, like if I was going to select one person that won, my favorite couple right now, is Trevor and Jamie. Okay. I've got my eye on, but maybe it's Rudi and Matt, but something just doesn't click with Rudi and Matt for me for some reason. I like them both individually, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm
starting to really like Ryan and Natasha.
I've got my eye on them. That's who I'm like these two are low key awesome together.
Yes, I'm starting to like them a lot. They vibe very well as time goes on.
Maybe if I picked one winner, I'd say maybe. Honestly, maybe Sheridan or Savannah for getting the hell out of there.
My winner is kind of Natasha for giving Julia the medicine she deserved. Like literally, it might have been a little bit of Natasha being a little bit of a snake coming in and saying all of that right before the performance and not like the day before or the day after. Her timing was very, very bad, but Julia needed a taste of her own medicine because Julia has been doing this all season to poor Savannah. Savannah like literally has been loving and caring for everybody, and she was a snake. So she had a snake attack another snake, and I thought it was awesome.
Yep, I agree.
Who's your loser? Besides
my loser was in my notes at the time, I put the snakes.
Snakes. We love snakes.
Maybe if I was to pick one loser, I mean, the easy answer is Julia, but I think I'm going to go with Brandon. Brandon sucks. I mean, if you really think about it, if Brandon had just stuck with Savannah from the get-go and not played with Julia and Savannah's hearts, none of this shit would have happened.
Right.
Brandon's the real evildoer here.
Right.
Julia just got sucked into the tractor beam.
Yeah, I think Julia kind of put a lot of fuel on the fire. There was like a candlelight fire, and then Julia came in right before that rose ceremony saying that I still have feelings for you and kissed him. And that basically is what set this whole thing afloat. So I don't know. They're both very bad. I think my loser for the week is Rudi because she's still super insecure.
Fair.
As time goes on, she still is so consumed in this idea that Matt's not gonna want her. And it's like every single time that she can get the opportunity, she just lays in on him of, I don't know where you're at. I don't think you like me. And I was like, I wouldn't like you either if you didn't
Did this to me.
have a good time or do anything and just hound me. I've known you for 4 weeks. Like, what do you want from me?
What do you want from me? Exactly.
I'm doing this journey with you and not anybody else, but I'm not going to tell you I love you. She's like comparing her relationship to Chris and Bree, and you can't compare anyone to Chris and Bree. They're both on a different level.
No.
Both personally, like if you were confident in yourself, maybe Matt would be in a different place. Like
I have to run a theory by you that
Yeah.
my friend hit me with this morning, and it might be fire.
Okay.
It might be real life. Okay, so think about it. We have 2 episodes left.
Yes.
There are 4 couples left.
Yeah.
Meaning
2 have to go home next
2 have to go home next week. Here's our thought. So in the preview for next week, we see that everyone goes to Vegas. Chris and Bree go to like a wedding chapel.
Mhm.
And supposedly, judging from the preview, let's just say if the preview's right, they get married.
Right.
I can see Chris Harrison walking up in their hotel suite and being like, I heard 2 of you are married now, which automatically disqualifies you from winning this competition. So Chris and Bree get sent home on default because they broke a rule or something, and they go home.
That could be something.
Along with, I assume Trevor and Jamie are going to be the next to go.
Right.
Unless Rudi and Matt shit hits the fan.
Yeah. So Matt's on my watch list.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to say something or do something that's going to make Rudi tip her lid. And then Rudi is going to be kind of on the same page as Savannah of, I can't do this anymore. I don't know where your head's at kind of thing. And either Rudi is going to explode to a point that's unrecoverable or who knows. But Matt's on my watch list. Rudi's on my loser list. And my winner was Natasha. So very different from the drama group of the love trio or quadruplet or whatever you want to call it.
The love square.
The square. Yep.
All right. Well, we listened to some music released since from these artists. I was able to find songs by Julia, Trevor, Chris, Bree, Rudi, Savannah, Brandon, and Sheridan. Matt, I couldn't find anything from Matt, Natasha, or Ryan, which that's fine.
Right. And the songs that came from Brandon were from a long time ago.
Yes.
So no recent releases there.
I listened to Brandon's like little EP that had 4 songs, and I hated every second.
I didn't even bother to listen to them because they're so old. But
you don't need to because they are horrible.
Yeah.
I
felt about Julia's 2 songs that she just released. It just like it sounded like there was something wrong with the microphone even. Like there was like a playback or something happening. And I was like, this is some low quality stuff right here.
Yeah, it just seemed very phoned in. Like, here, get a single out. And she was like,
It was definitely about her experience on the show. Like both songs were so, I can't even think of the lyrics right now, but they like just listening to it was like, oh, that's Brandon. Oh, that's Sheridan. Oh, that's Brandon. Like it was so obvious.
Yeah.
That those songs were about her experience on the show. But yeah, Sheridan decided to release the song Come Back or Coming Back.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he released it today after the episode premiered yesterday.
He released something today?
Yeah, which is Coming Back. It was a song that he was writing while Julia was on her date with Brandon. Because they were on that really long date, and Sheridan basically spent the whole time by himself. Like at least Savannah was like with the group kind of hanging out like while they were out on the date. But Sheridan kind of was off in his own little world, and he was writing the song Coming Back. And And so he kind of didn't want to release it because it was very obvious that it had to do with the show and stuff like that. So he was pretty off and on about releasing it. And then he decided to the day after it premiered, just in case anyone needed that song, like if it could help someone else.
I didn't realize that he released something today. I haven't listened to that one. I'll have to listen to that afterwards. But
it's pretty good. I think a more famous producer helped him create it. So
good.
Helped him record it at least. So there's that.
I really enjoyed the music Trevor's got.
Yeah, I didn't listen to those. I didn't get around to Trevor's music, but Trevor was American Idol boy. He's pretty musically talented.
His songs sound like professional.
Right.
Like, he's got one of them is a country song and one of them is classified as pop. The country song slaps.
Oh.
Like it's a party song. It's like a tailgate, like let's have a pool party, throw this shit on.
Right.
Like I'm keeping it in my library because I like it so much.
That's great. Because I was listening to a lot of the songs with my boyfriend today while we were running some errands after work. And we were both like, yeah, I would not add this song to a playlist.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the song Booty by Chris?
That was my next comment.
That the album art alone. Okay, so I think it's obvious that Chris and Bree somehow break up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they break up, but both their songs and albums. The thing that's interesting though is if you're paying attention to the last episode of Listen to Your Heart, Chris is singing and he's in the middle of writing his song Life Changes, which Life Changes is on that album that he released towards the end of January. Also on that song is not on that song, but on that album is a song called, and let me look it up really quick because it's pretty important. But I Can't Say I Do.
Oh.
Which clearly you say I do when you get married. And it's basically saying like, you tried to love me, but you didn't care. You tried to love me, but you weren't fair. Like basically whoever he's talking about, it's not nice at all. And I think Bree released a song. I didn't listen to it, but I think it's called Say Goodbye.
She did. I listened to it.
And so
okay, but it was very dark.
Yeah, so I don't think anything really happens on this show. Maybe they do get married or something weird happens and they get disqualified based off of your friend's theory. But I don't think anything happens on the show. I think something happens after the show.
Or
that's good.
You know, when they show that little clip of them going to the wedding chapel, it shows them doing that, but then it cuts to him talking to her, and he's like, I always wanted my dad or someone in my family to marry me. Or
right.
to like marry me off or whatever.
Dad to marry me. Yeah. Marry whoever he was going to be with. Not like marry him.
For all we know, this doesn't sound like Bree, but like for all we know, she's like, we're right here. Let's just do it. Let's just do this now. Like, and I can see Chris being like, I don't want to right now. It's not right.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I think that they somehow somewhere break up. I really hope that's not the case, but that's the theory that something happens and they're no more. Yeah. Who else? Rudi's song Smile wasn't great at all. If you see who the record producer is on it, it is Rudi Records. So she produced her own song.
It shows.
Yeah, not great. It's really too. I think it's like less than 2 minutes. It's not very good, not very long. So it's basically saying like we didn't work out and I'm going to smile because I got the opportunity or because it's over or whatever. But clearly that's about Matt.
Yeah.
Song they all produced were breakup songs. So I don't know if they were doing it in a way of being like sneaky to kind of keep us all on edge, or they all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Rudi's song at all. I listened to it and I was like, this ain't it, Rudi. Sorry, girl.
And she's very talented at singing, which makes me kind of sad.
And like both the album art and the song title was very misleading because I thought it was about to be this happy, like go lucky song, and it was so sad.
Right. And it was so like non-poppy.
Yeah, I agree.
Relaxed. I think.
How about Savannah's song? She just released it a couple months ago.
It was not good.
A lot of these are just phoned in.
They were just, the quality wasn't great. Her voice is so good and so talented. She can get like this really good raspy.
I agree.
Such a good voice. And it was like, it was just not, it just didn't feel like her. Like it didn't feel like a song that she would sing. So
I agree.
I'm so confused by that too.
I feel like it was more solid than some of the others, but at the same time, I agree. It feels like someone else wrote a song and she was like, I guess I'll sing that one.
Right.
It felt very not Savannah style.
Right.
So, I guess all around the board, nothing too crazy. I was a fan of Trevor's songs, but other than that, man, there's not much to get excited about here.
Right. Which makes me curious to see who gets the record deal. Because basically the couples that we have left, maybe that means that Ryan and Natasha got it. If they're not producing music right now, it might be because they're working with a producer and they're going to release something greater later on, like an album. Clearly they're not on tour at the moment because coronavirus, but
that's a really good point. I didn't think about that.
Maybe Natasha and Ryan win because they have no new releases of music. Because I think if you think about it, if you sign a record deal with someone, you can't go then work with another label.
Yeah.
Or even create your own. Like you have to work with them.
For all we know, they have something cooked up and ready to release, and they're going to release it like the day after the finale or that Friday or something.
Right. So I think maybe Natasha and Ryan win this. I'm sorry if anyone's listening to this. This is clearly not like a spoiler alert. I don't know if they haven't read like, I think it's like Spoiler Steve or Bachelor Steve or something like that. I haven't read any of his stuff because I don't like it ruined for me like that. But that's my theory, is that Natasha and Ryan, because they're great performers. They're great performers and they definitely have the magic on stage, and they're not pursuing anyone else pretty confidently. Like Trevor and Jamie are pretty weak because their performances are very weak. Matt and Rudi are weak because their love connection is very weak. And Bree and Chris are kind of reckless. So something's either going to explode or I don't know. But if anything, it's going to be Chris, Bree versus Natasha and Ryan at the very end, in my mind.
Huh. I don't disagree. In fact, I think that's what we're going to get.
I think that's what's going to happen. So hopefully I'm right. Find out 2 weeks from now.
we sure will. Or, I mean, we might even find out next week.
Yeah.
If two couples go home, but we'll have to see. So couple little things, and then we'll wrap this up here. I wanted to note that Bachelor is happening this summer. It is happening.
Bachelor in Paradise? Or just
no, it's actually just it's not really happening. It's each week. I think they're doing like an 8-week special, and it's each week it's like a greatest hits album, basically. Each week is going to be a episode dedicated to a season of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're going to highlight all the best drama, the best, connections, the best dates, all of that. So it's basically going to be like, here's your introduction to the Bachelor guide. Watch these, and you'll be caught up on all the Bachelor lore.
Right.
So
all the key couples and all the key scenes that people reference all the time.
Exactly. So I'm game for it. We'll do it. We'll talk about it. Me and Kaleigh, we've stated, I'm pretty new here to the Bachelor world. Kayleigh's a little more experienced than I am, but she's also pretty new. So if we get some like older seasons, then that'd be pretty cool to see some older stuff.
Have I ever told you that I've met someone from The Bachelor?
No.
one time when I was in Nashville for a bachelorette party for my best friend Carly, who's actually pregnant now. I know their first year anniversary is June 1st, and they're already like, I think August is their due date. So
shouts to them.
I know, they're great. They're doing great. They've been together for like 8 years though, so it makes sense. But we're at her bachelorette party, and we were outside of, I think, Luke Bryan's bar, and we ran into Ashley I and Jared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which Ashley I also has a podcast that talks about The Bachelor. I think she released an episode a couple weeks ago where she does an interview with Julia about her experience on the show. So that's also a good episode to listen to.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yes. But Ashley I and Jared, we ran into them.
That's pretty cool.
With them, and it was crazy. And that was like when I just started getting into The Bachelor. I think I'd been watching The Bachelor and getting into all that kind of stuff for about a year. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
Met her once, but yeah.
Neat. One more thing, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I wanted to ask you, Kaleigh, for your opinion. So after 2 weeks from now, Bachelor ain't going to be on. I think the Greatest Hits thing starts like in the first week of June or something like that, like middle of June or something. I was going to ask you, have you watched Too Hot to Handle?
Not yet. It looks interesting. Is it like they can't have sex with each other or something, or they can't?
I think they can't make any like physical, like they can't kiss. If they kiss, they have to either. I think like the concept is like you get $100,000, but each time the winner, like each time you kiss somebody, you have to give in $100, or if you have sex, you have to give up like $5,000 or something like that.
Gotcha.
So you basically can't make any physical like contact with the person you're seeing. But I was going to ask you, is to fill that time gap, should we watch Too Hot to Handle?
I would be down. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's on Netflix, so all the episodes are available. So we just have to count it out. Maybe we watch like 2 a week or 3 a week. That's going to be the hardest part, is the fact that it'll be available to us like all at once, and we could easily continue. But
we just need self-control.
Self-control is all we need.
All right. Yeah, I'm down.
Sweet. Awesome. I was hoping you hadn't watched it, and we are in the clear. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well then, fam, that does it for episode 110. If you like what you heard, go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Follow us. I mean, if you're listening, you probably already do, but tell a friend. That's how things happen. Word of mouth. That's how things happen. Leave a review. Tell a friend. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the little bell so you can see when we upload a video. Also, subscribing is, just do all of it. Like, subscribe, bell. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, the Binge Boys Podcast, just Binge Boys Podcast, Kale's Tales, and Logan Lewis 96. Might as well follow Zach McConnell and Pearson Kilgore as well. They kill it on our regular episodes. Unless you got anything else, Kaleigh, I think I'm gonna have Benji tune us out, and I think we're good.
I think we're great. Go ahead and tune us out, Benji.
All right, Benji. Do us a favor and tune us out. We'll see you guys next week for 111. Ooh, I might have a little surprise coming out this weekend. Stay tuned. Oh, we are going to end now. Goodbye.